Once again, Barcelona is a stage of tension. Just one day before the 2025 Catalunya MotoGP, the world's attention is on two big names, Marc Márquez, an 8-time MotoGP world champion, and Pedro Acosta, a young star who dares to challenge Marquez and other legends. This time, however, their rivalry is not just about speed on the track. Acosta has made heated comments once again that have the paddock shaking. Will these comments backfire on Acosta, or will they mark the beginning of Marquez's downfall on his home turf? Let's discuss. In an official interview, Acosta discussed the differences between the Hungarian and Catalunya circuits. Marquez had dominated the Hungarian circuit just a few weeks earlier. In Hungary, there are a lot of left-hand corners, which clearly favours Marquez. But in Catalunya, it's a different story. There are more right-hand corners, and we know he often has problems here. He's never really felt comfortable in Barcelona, Acosta said confidently. The young Spanish rider didn't stop there, adding a scathing comment that further heated up the atmosphere. Smiling as if belittling the legend, Acosta loudly declared, "He's definitely going to fall here." This statement immediately divided public opinion. Some saw it as a display of confidence from a young man hungry for victory, daring to challenge a MotoGP icon in front of his own fans. Others, however, viewed it as psychological warfare, a deliberate attempt to reopen old wounds for Marquez at the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya, a track that has often plagued him. In fact, Marquez's record in Barcelona has never been perfect. He has missed several major opportunities due to dramatic crashes, including a horrific incident in 2020 when he crashed after losing grip on a fast corner. Now, Acosta's remarks seem to have reignited those past memories, raising tensions ahead of the Catalunya race. Marquez responded coldly and expressionlessly to Acosta's boasts. Catalunya isn't always friendly, but every season and every bike is different. The race is decided on Sunday, not by comments, he said with a faint smile, as if he wanted to end the conversation without further escalating the issue. To the public, his answer reflected the experience and maturity of a world champion. Marquez understands that mastering the track is not just about speed, but also about maintaining composure under pressure. He knows that performing in front of his fans in Catalonia is always mentally challenging, especially when opponents try to provoke him. Now, the tension is heating up. The spotlight is no longer solely on the race's final result, but also on the emotional duel between two generations. The legend fighting to maintain his supremacy versus the bold heir apparent challenging him. All eyes are waiting to see whether experience or courage will prevail on Sunday. The tension on the track is only half the story. Behind the scenes, Ducati's internal drama is escalating. Since the Hungarian Grand Prix, the performance gap between the two factory riders has become increasingly apparent. Marc Márquez delivered a ferocious, determined, and virtually flawless performance, securing a double victory that thrilled the paddock. Meanwhile, Francesco Bagnaia, the reigning champion and former Ducati icon, slumped to 9th place, a result that belies his status. Ducati general manager Gigi Dall'Igna called Marquez's signing his best decision in years. This praise solidified Marquez's position as the team's new hero, but was also a bitter pill for Bagnaia to swallow. On the other hand, Ducati team manager Davide Tardozzi appeared increasingly cautious. He became humble, almost begging Marquez to help bolster Pecco's fragile morale. The public was further convinced that at Ducati, it was no longer just about the title fight, but also about the struggle for position within the team hierarchy. Marquez was no longer just a rookie rider. He had become a key player and central figure in the drama shaking the Ducati garage. As the starting lights went out, the tension on the Hungarian track reached its peak. Marc Márquez, who started from pole position, immediately came under pressure from the back row. However, the real drama unfolded in the first corner when he made hard contact with Marco Bezzecchi, cracking the right fairing of his bike. The vibrations from the damaged bike were clearly visible, leading many in the paddock and among the spectators to believe that Marquez's race was over. Instead of giving up, Marquez used the damage as a symbol of a champion's resilience. Despite the violent vibrations of his motorcycle at speeds exceeding 300 km per h, he managed to maintain his racing rhythm. His sharp instincts and patience led him to wait for the right moment. Finally, on the 11th lap, he made a clean and decisive move to take the lead from Bezzecchi. Thunderous cheers erupted from the Hungarian grandstands, filling the stadium with the roar of thousands of fans. In front of his home crowd, Marquez proved Pedro Acosta wrong and silenced his rival's scepticism. Despite his damaged bike, his Ducati Desmosedici GP25 faithfully carried him to the finish line, delivering a commanding victory, proof that true toughness is born from limitations. Aprilia had some hope with Marco Bezzecchi, who performed impressively early in the race. His smooth start put him in the lead, creating the illusion that the Noale-based team could pull off a major upset in Hungary. However, the soft tyre strategy he had chosen from the beginning proved to be a mistake. As the race progressed, the bike's grip decreased drastically and his speed gradually disappeared. His brief dominance crumbled. The crucial moment came when Marc Márquez approached, waiting patiently for an opening, and then made a well-calculated pass. Pedro Acosta, lurking nearby, also managed to pass Bezzecchi, leaving him in third place. Aprilia had to settle for the final podium spot, far from their ambitions of victory. The Aprilia boss couldn't hide his disappointment. "We took a risk with the soft tyre. Marco handled it well, but Marquez is different. He's too patient and too clever, even with an imperfect bike," he said bitterly, acknowledging how difficult it is to defeat the 8-time world champion. Meanwhile, Pedro Acosta, who had boasted loudly beforehand, hung his head in defeat. Although he finished ahead of Bezzecchi, he failed to fulfill his promise to defeat Marquez on home turf. This result was a bitter lesson for the sensational rookie. Courage and speed alone aren't enough against the composure and cunning of a legend. In addition to the Marquez and Acosta duel, much attention was focused on the tyre selection. Michelin brought a tyre that was considered softer than the one used in the Hungarian round. Some teams, like Aprilia, gambled on the softer tyre in hopes of gaining an early lead. However, the risk backfired. Marco Bezzecchi, who had led early in the race, ended up experiencing extreme tyre degradation. "We hoped to hold on until the last lap, but the bike was unstable. Marquez read the situation better," said Bezzecchi. Marquez's victory on the medium tyre underscored his astuteness in reading the situation, embarrassing his overzealous rivals in the process. Marc Márquez is a legend who remains strong amidst the storm. For MotoGP, this duel is more than just a battle for position. It's a symbol of the battle between two generations, between an icon and a challenger still seeking his path to the throne. Is Marquez's victory in Catalunya proof that he is still too strong to be defeated? Share your thoughts below